In this video, we are going to talk more about web locators. Assuming you did not install the ChromePath extension or you did not add the ChromePath extension to Chrome, you can use the Control F, which opens the search box at the bottom of the page. Then from there, you can type the strategy you want. So we already have a strategy over there. So when you enter, you see two elements matching with the search criteria, which is type equal to text. So this is another way to also, instead of using the ChromePath, this is another way you can interact with the elements. But I'll stick to the ChromePath. If you do not want to use these strategies, like using the CSS or other selectors, there is another way to do it. Assuming, let me close the developer tools. So assuming we want to select the register, or we want the strategy for the register now button, you can just right click it, inspect, and then right click it again, and then we have copy. So the copy, we have copy XPath and copy full XPath. This full XPath works like the path we have on our computer, the path to, let's say, a folder. So maybe you go to your drive C, you go to users, you go to your name, you go to the name of the folder. So that's the path. So the same way, the elements on the page have path as well. So for instance, the path to this button is HTML, body, div, form, another div, and a button or something like that. So that is the absolute path. So let's see how that one works. So right click on the element you want, navigate to copy, and then copy full XPath. And let's go to the ChromePath and paste it in. So after pasting it in, enter. Then it locates one element on the page. So this is the path. So HTML /body /div /form/div into bracket 2, and then the button. But sometimes this is really long, so I recommend you use the, let's say, the other strategy I was talking about, the one with the input and then the ID of first name or last name. That's kind of strategy, because with this one, it might the test case might fail at some point. Like if there is any change at all, the path to this one might change. There might be another div like this before the button, and then when you click enter, it says 0 element matching. So if you have no other option, then you can use this one. But if there are other options, I recommend you stick to the, like, this kind of stuff. The for instance, we have the button with the ID of register, and this is the full XPath. We have another one. So this is the relative XPath. So let's copy that one and paste and see what. Yes, so straight away it says we are selecting any element on the page that has ID of register. This syntax means we are selecting any element on the page. If you do not know the element you are looking for, it could have been an input field or a button or a link tag, but since IDs are supposed to be unique for each and every element, we can just use this one as well. But that copy XPath does not only give this one. Sometimes it gives like other combinations as well, and this is also a little risky to use, especially if there are some class names or something like that before or in the XPath. If there's any change, sometimes the classes change or the IDs change if the IDs are generated dynamically. So sometimes it might also fail. But feel free to use it. If it fails, then you can check. If the test case fails, you can check why it failed. If it is because the XPath was wrong, or there's a bug in the system itself, in the web app itself. So you need to differentiate between when the test cases fail and when there's a bug in the web app. So you can use this strategy or use the selector like the one we did for the input with the ID of first name, or you can use a full XPath. So those are the ways we can interact, or we can select the elements from the page. So now that we have, let's say, some basic understanding on how to use the web locators, let us now add them to our test cases, so the test case can interact with the elements. So we can go to the PyCharm, and yes, so this is basically what how we left our code the other time when we were talking about how to run the test cases and explaining the test files. So let me quickly delete these ones. Yes, so now we have only my first test case. So normally, what do we do when we want to open a page, a web page, for example? We first go to the web browser we want, and then type the URL we need, and then enter. So that's basically what we do if we want to navigate to any URL, whether on our phone or on our tablets, our laptops, etc. So the same way, there's a keyword to do that, and that keyword is known as open browser. Open browser. So anyone that sees this keyword, the person knows this keyword opens the browser. So what do we need to open the browser? Let me remove this log. Normally, when you want to open a browser on your phone, you take your phone and click the browser you want, and then you type in the URL, which means we at least need 2 arguments. We need to supply some data to the open browser. So the open browser takes 2 arguments: the URL of the web page you want to visit, and then the actual browser to use, whether it is Firefox or Safari or IE, Internet Explorer, or Chrome. So for all the test cases, or for this tutorial, we are going to stick with Chrome. So what do we do? You go to the website you want to test. So let's go to the simple register test, and on your machine you can't navigate to this because this is only on my machine. It has not been deployed, so this is local. So if you want to use the same web like the same page, I would have to add it to the description. But for now, let me just, so this server is up and running. Anytime I refresh, yeah, it's up and running already on my machine. So all I have to do is copy this URL from the address bar, go to the PyCharm, and paste. So that's the first part, or the first argument the open browser keyword needs. So now this is the URL, but now in which browser is it supposed to open it? So let's hit the tab key a few times. You can just type Chrome. So these are the 2 arguments the open browser needs. So the open browser keyword needs the URL of the web app you want to test, and then the actual browser to open it in. So now that we have this keyword, let us run the test case and see what happens. So robot, and then so we have to specify the directory as well, -d. Let's put it in the logs folder, and then the path with the initial robot file. It's still initial 2. So let's enter. And then it opens. Yeah, as you can see, it has opened the dummy project I had running on my machine. So this is what I was using to explain the web locators. But as you can see, it is still hanging because typically when a user finishes using the web browser, they close it. But we did not, we just use the open browser. But what happens when we are ready, when we finish using the browser, we have to close it. So which means we have to manually close it like this. And then that should be it. And then we can use, you guessed it, close browser. They are close all browsers, but let's stick to the close browser. So now let's run it. Let's run the file again. Yes. So it opens and closes. So now let's check what the message and the logs say. So open in and then Chrome, and then straight away it opens the, so 1 critical test, 1 pass, 0 failed. So it's telling us that we use this keyword, which is part of the Selenium library. So the open browser, this is the URL it's visited, and then we used the Chrome, and then after that, so this passed, yeah, opening info, opening browser, Chrome to base URL. This is the URL we specified, and then after that it closed the browser. So now that we know how to open and close the browser, we need to now interact with the elements itself. So there is another keyword. So what do we do? Open browser, and then what? When the user opens the browser, let's say we open this register page, we type the name of the person, the first name and the last name, John Doe, and then we click register. So congratulations, you are registered. So we want the test case to be doing that for us automatically. So in the same way, we need to let the robot framework interact with the elements on the page as well. To input text or to input anything in a text box, there's a keyword known as input text. You see, so this input text is a Selenium library keyword. So the input text, when you click enter or you hit enter, it says it needs 2 arguments. It needs the locator, that is the element in which to type the text, and the actual text to type. So we need a locator. The text will be, I use John Doe, so let's use John. And then what is the locator? So with this one, we go straight back to the register page. You right click on the first name text field, and as we did, we go to the crawl path. You need to check if the path actually exists on the page. So input, and then with the @ sign, then the attribute you want to use, and then we have a first name ID. So let's see, enter. Okay, so this particular strategy selects the first name input field correctly. So let's copy that strategy, go back to PyCharm, and then paste it here. This is not done yet. We need to specify that this is XPath, and then remember the colon. So this is how it is done. Then the same way, we can just hit the Control D, then it copies that line, because we now want to type in the last name field. So you can use the last name. So we have XPath colon 2 / input, then the ID, first name John, and then the second one as well. So it opens the browser, types in the first name field, types in the last name field, and then closes the browser. So let's see how it works. So let's run it again in the terminal. Yes, you could see it just in a split second. Yes, let's watch again. Yes, so it happened, it passed. We already have it open, so let's go back and refresh and see the results. It says open browser, then the input text. We are inputting John into this input field. When you open it, it says type in text John into text field, this text field. And then the next one is input text. It's putting the do in this text field. So type in text do into text field, blah, blah, blah. Then after that, it says close browser. So now that we have done the inputting, we now have to click the register button as well. So let's see. We have, so that is a button, right? So let's see. That is a button with the text register now. So let's use the same thing. We have a button element, and then we have a ID register. So we can just remove the input and use button, and now the ID is register, enter, and then it says one element. So the same way, if you copy this and use the Control F and paste it here, it tells you that one element, one of one, which means only one element on the page has the ID register. So which means this would work. So now we now use, there is another keyword. What do we have to do? We want to click the button. So there's a keyword, click button. So we can just click the button and then paste in the button we want to click, and then remember to bring the XPath to it. So let's see what happens. So after that, we just run the file again and see what happens. We don't really know if it clicked the button or not, but let's see if it passed. No, this one. Yes, so it's saying the click button. Anytime it's green, then it means the keyword passed. So the click button also belongs to the Selenium library. So it says clicking button, so which means it passed. So let's see what happens if we remove. Yeah, so this is how to comment in robot framework, the hash sign. So now that I have disabled the library Selenium, it's saying, let's see, undefined keyword, open browser. Let's see. The log, yes, the log does not belong to the Selenium library itself. It's an inbuilt keyword in robot framework, so it doesn't require any imports. So let's see. Yeah, it's finished running. Straight away it says no keyword with name open browser, because we commented out the Selenium library from the settings. So straight away you know what the problem is. And if you forget to do it, sometimes it imports it automatically for you. But just anytime you see that this line is drawn under a keyword, it's probably because you have not imported a library. So just uncomment it, and then let's rerun it again. Yes, yeah. So we saw the John and the do briefly, and everything disappears. So, but what if we, as you can see, the tests are running too quickly. They are too fast for us to see what is happening. So what if we slow the tests down? There's actually a strategy to use to do that, and that would introduce us to the next item in the course, that is timing. So thank you, and see you in that video.